So what is the essence of all the scriptures? Is vāsudeve bhagavati. Unto Lord Shri Krishna, who is the son of Vasudeva. And what one has to perform? Bhakti yoga. One has to perform. Again, is mentioning the same thing. Previous verse also was Yator Bhakti Radhokshaji. Here it is Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaḥ. One has to perform devotional service. And what is the result of performing devotional service? Janayaty ashu vairāgyaṁ. So the outcome or the natural result of one who is performing devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is quickly. Ashu means quickly. Asu, Janayati asu vairāgyaṁ. He will become detached. He will become renounced. How? Jñānaṁ cha ahaitukam. Because he will be situated in knowledge. From knowledge comes detachment. And detachment is the feature of one who is practicing devotional service. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. And here, the word knowledge means in relation to the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord's name, form, qualities, his attributes, his character, his sweetness. Naam, Roop, Gun, and his Leela. Everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. So to know about the Supreme Lord, what is the criteria or the qualification? Is to perform loving devotional service. So one who is engaged in rendering loving devotional service unto the Lord, immediately he acquires causeless knowledge. And from knowledge comes detachment to the world. So Prabhupada says in the purport, those who consider devotional service to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna to be something like material emotional affair may argue that in the revealed scriptures, sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic powers, and similar other processes of transcendental realizations are recommended. So Prabhupada is raising this argument that there are some class of men who consider devotional service to be something like sentimental or an emotional affairs. Particularly Prabhupada is talking about those who are in the Jnana Marga. Those who are in the Jnana Marga, their emphasis, their focus, or their practices, all these aspects of sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic powers. According to them, bhakti or the devotional service of the Lord is meant for those who cannot perform the high-grade activities. Yeah. You remember the example? What we are discussing? There is an example of what Prabhupada is quoting in the purport, that one class of so-called transcendentalists, they consider bhakti to be something which is low class, which is not high class. What is high class? Austerity, sacrifice, penance, charity, study of Vedas. These are all considered to be high class. But bhakti is considered to be an emotional or sentimental affair. It is meant for those who cannot perform high class activity. Can you remember some episodes, some pastimes? Yes, there shall be.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Prakashananda Saraswati, so
yes, very good.
He told that you are a sannyasi, you should study Vedanta, and why you are sentimentally chanting the holy name? So he told like that. So Mahaprabhu told that my spiritual master considered me as a fool, having no knowledge of Shastra. So he told me to chant the holy name. So I am chanting the holy name. So he gave this. He became so much humble before him, and
Very good. Very good. Yes. Yes. And so did Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, and when he came and had the audience of Lord Jagannath for the first time, he manifested the aesthetic symptoms. And Mahaprabhu fainted. And Mahaprabhu was taken to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said that you are a young sannyasi. And for you to be able to retain your sannyas, what is important for you? To study Vedanta. And he gave a discourse on Vedanta, and Mahaprabhu heard him for 7 straight days without speaking a word. Of course, Mahaprabhu humbled him because he was giving the wrong interpretation of Vedanta. So the so-called Vedantists, or those who are in the marga or path of dry renunciation and logic, they consider bhakti to be low-grade activity. So you see, the Prabhupada will hammer them. Generally, it is said that bhakti cult is meant for the Shudras, Vaishyas, and the less intelligent women class. Where it is said, Prabhupada says that generally it is said that the bhakti cult is meant for the Shudras, Vaishyas, and less intelligent women class. But that is not the actual fact. There is a verse in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Krishna speaks about it. Not exactly in the context to which it is being presented, but Krishna speaks about this principle. What is the verse where Krishna speaks? Shudras, Vaishyas, and women class. But bhakti is even easily accessible and available to this class of people also. Manoram Prabhu, do you remember we have studied Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, Prabhuji, I think we have discussed also a few days back, but the whole verse I am not remembering. It is something like Striya Vaishyas Tata Sudras, something was that verse was there.
Yes, exactly this is the verse. Mam hi partha vipashritya ye api syo papyoniya stiyo vaishyas tatha shudras tepi yanti paramgati. So bhakti is so easy and so accessible, and Krishna is so kind. Like we were discussing the quality of Lord Jagannath. He is Karuna Sindhu and he is Dina Udharak, Deen Udharaka. Those who are Deen. Deen means who are fallen and who are dependent. So Krishna says, Mam hi partha vipashritya. So they should all take shelter of me. Ashritya means they should depend on me. Even if they are in the abominable state. Mam hi partha vipashritya ye api syu papyoniya. Even if they are in the abominable condition. Whether they are Striya, woman class, less intelligent class, whether they are in the mercantile class, they are not high class. The Brahmana class or the Kshatriya class is considered to be the high class. So whether they are Striya, Vaishyas, Tata, Sudra, but if they perform bhakti, tepi anti paramgati, they can also attain to the highest perfection and to the highest destination. But the so-called jnanis or the speculative meditators, as Prabhupada says, what they construe that bhakti is for low-class people. It is not for high class. So Prabhupada is bringing this argument live, and he says that the bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. In this material world, something which is top grade or high grade, very difficult to attain. Unless and until it is difficult to attain, it cannot be high. It has to be accessible to only very select few. Then only it is high. If it is easily accessible to all, then how can it be high? Then it will become general. It will become common. It cannot remain high grade. But this is the transcendental feature or the quality of bhakti, that it is simultaneously sublime, glorious, and it is easy. It is sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in contact with the Supreme Lord. So those who are Paramahansas, those who are advanced devotees, it is sublime. Who remembers the meaning of sublime? What is sublime? We discussed few times. Someone asked question also that what is sublime? Who remembers what is sublime?
Sublime meaning, Prabhuji.
Quickly. You discussed.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Come again?
Means,
Yeah.
Prabhuji, higher grade.
Yes, sublime means which is something very glorious or high class or something extraordinary. So something which is high class, which is standard, cannot be easy. It has to be difficult. But this is the transcendental nature of bhakti. The Prabhupada is saying it is both. It is sublime also and it is easy also. So this is the feature of bhakti. Prabhupada is saying that it is for those who are pure devotees, it is sublime, and it is easy for the neophytes who are just on the threshold of the house of bhakti. So even for the beginners, it is easy. To achieve the contact of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna is a great science. And it is open for all living beings, including the Shudras, Vaishyas, women, and even those lower than the low-born Shudra. So you see in India, so far before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, so there was this very heavy imposition of the caste system. The Vedas and Shastras can only be accessed by those who are in the Brahmana class. Anyone who is not in the Brahmana class, he had no right. He could not perform sacrifice. He could not study the Vedas or the Shastras. It was not easy and accessible to other class of men who were considered to be so-called low class. So they were barred. Or they were not allowed to do that. But bhakti is universal. That is the advantage. And Prabhupada is saying that it is open for all beings, irrespective of whatever is his class, whatever is his position, whatever may be his state. From whatever state he is, he can come to the topmost state. So what to speak of the high-class men like the qualified Brahmanas and the great self-realized kings? The other high-grade activities designated as sacrifice, charity, austerity, etc. are all corollary factors following the pure and scientific bhakti cult. So bhakti is mukhya or primary or main. And all this, what are the others? Like sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic power, and all these processes are all corollary factors following the pure and scientific bhakti cult. So they are gone. They are secondary. the primary aspect is bhakti. If one performs bhakti, all of it automatically comes. It is already included in bhakti. So Prabhupada is saying it is a corollary factor. It is not the main fact. The principle of knowledge and detachment are two important factors on the path of transcendental realization. It is jñānaṁ and vairāgyaṁ. So one who is performing bhakti, how to know that one is performing bhakti? These two factors will be very formidably visible in his practice of knowledge and detachment. The whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge. Knowledge I have already explained. Knowledge about the Supreme Lord, His name, His form, His qualities, His pastime, His paraphernalia, His abode, His devotees. So everything which is in connection with the Supreme Lord. So that knowledge is the result of one performing devotional service. So Prabhupada says, the whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge of everything, material and spiritual. Not only about the Supreme Lord. If one knows the Supreme Lord, he knows everything else. There is a verse in the Upanishads which says that if you know Krishna, then you know everything else. Why? Because Krishna is the source, Krishna is the root, Krishna is the foundation of everything else. Yasmin vignate sarvam vignatam iti, something like that. And if one knows Krishna, then automatically he comes to know everything else and anything else in relation to this material and spiritual world, because the source and the foundation of everything is Krishna. So if you know the root, if you know the foundation, you know all the extensions. There is nothing, no external effort required to know about the extensions. The result of such perfect knowledge are that one becomes detached from material affection. Very important. How to know one is progressing in bhakti? One becomes detached from material affection and becomes attached to spiritual activities. I'm very pleased all of you are attending. We were all tired from morning. We were all engaged. We had big celebration of Lord Jagannath. And there was not much energy in the body. I was also, having tough time to come to the class. But I see all of you coming. So this is a reflection of our attachment. What is the reflection of attachment? To hear Bhagavatam, not to discontinue. Very good. We are trying to apply the principle of undivided, apratihata. That there is no interruption. The attempt was that in Kartik, we will have everyday class. Of course, during the yatra, we had classes during yatra. But beyond the yatra, we are not going to miss the class. So all of you have come. And I was thinking everyone will be tired. They rushed back to be in time. Even Ravinder and Priyanka Mataji, they are hearing. Everything will be scattered in their house. But this is a sign of detachment from material activities and attachment to spiritual activity. And the most important aspect of spiritual activity is hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada is saying here that what is the result of knowledge coming in? That there is detachment from matter, from material affection, and attached to spiritual activities. Becoming detached from material activity does not mean becoming inert altogether. This is another aspect. People have this very big misconception that what they think of spiritual life or spiritual process is to become inactive, or as Prabhupada is writing here, is inertia. What? That then they have to do nothing. They will be relieved of all the endeavors and the attempts. No. It is just the other way. If you are becoming advanced, or if you are progressing on the path of devotional service, you become hyperactive. From early morning till evening, till night, you are always engaged in performing service. It is not that you have nothing to do. You are idle or you are vacant. So Prabhupada is smashing this misconception. So this is again the conception of those who are jnanis. Why? Because they think activity binds. If they perform any activity, it will bind the jiva. Why to perform activity? But devotional practice is to perform the activity to please the Lord. So there is, the principle is, it is apratihata, that it cannot be interrupted. Uninterrupted devotional service means constantly being engaged. Constant engagement. Constant engagement means moment to moment. Otherwise, what will come? Intervals will come. So it is not intermittent. It is incessant, without any cessation, or without any stoppage. Becoming detached from material things does not becoming detached from material things does not mean becoming inert altogether, as men with a poor fund of knowledge think. Naish karma means not undertaking activities that will produce good or bad effect. You understand? Naish karma, like akarma, that karma which does not bring any reaction. So Naish karma does not mean not performing activity. Naish karma means not performing material activity. But Naish karma also means never stopping the spiritual activity. So those who are immature or those who lack knowledge, the Prabhupada is hammering that those who lack knowledge, they do not have this understanding. Prabhupada uses a very beautiful phrase. He says, as man of poor fund of knowledge. He does not say directly that these people who are immature or those who are foolish. Prabhupada says those who are poor fund of knowledge. So Naish karma means not undertaking activities which will produce good or bad effects. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Very beautiful statement. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Yesterday we used the word. Yesterday? No, not yesterday. Day before yesterday. What was the word? In same context. Anyone remembers? In the 6th verse. Savaya pumsa parodharma. There one word came. Like Tugire Prabhupada is saying that negation of the negative does not mean the negation of the positive. What was the word? It was abnegation. The same thing. That abnegation, so Prabhupada is explaining that negation or abnegation, what it means. So negation does not mean negation of the positive. What is the positive? Devotional practice or devotional engagement. Negation of the non-essential does not mean negation of the essential. Again, Prabhupada is emphasizing the same. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Negation of non-essential does not mean negation of the essential. So what is essential? Essential is to perform one's practice, one's service. That is essential. That is parodharma. So that cannot be discontinued, or that cannot be negated, or that cannot be terminated. It has to continue. Similarly, detachment from material form does not mean nullifying the positive form. The bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form. Very beautiful. The bhakti cult is meant for the realization of the positive form. When the positive form is realized, the negative forms are automatically eliminated. Can anyone elaborate on what Prabhupada is mentioning here? Positive form, negative form, what it means? That negation of the negative does not mean negation of the positive. what it means, essential and non-essential, what is negative, what is positive. What is the understanding? Where Prabhupada is focusing? Speak. Yes, Ramya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, essential is our spiritual practice, and here Srila Prabhupada mentioned negative is all the material engagement and positive is spiritual engagement.
Yes, very good. Clear. Very crisp, precise, and clear. That the spiritual is essential. So it cannot be neglected or negated. And it is essential. And material is non-essential. It has to be given up. So giving up the material does not mean giving up the spiritual as well. So this is the misconception with the Jnanis have. Actually, they do not have the clear understanding of what is spiritual and what is material. Anything and everything which is in relation to Krishna is spiritual. And everything which has no relation to Krishna, it is all material. Even if it is austerity, sacrifice, penance, study of Veda, anything and everything. So this clarity, this conception is not clear to those even who are trying to advance in the spiritual order. The Prabhupada is saying when the positive form is realized, the negative form are automatically eliminated. Therefore, with the development of bhakti cult, with the application of positive service to the positive form, very beautiful. Try to appreciate the purport. Read it one or more, 2 times. Prabhupada is saying that with the development of the bhakti cult, with the application of the positive service to the positive form, one naturally becomes detached from inferior things and become attached to superior things. That is a very beautiful verse in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which speaks about this principle which Prabhupada is explaining here in this paragraph, this sentence which we have just studied. That when the positive part is practiced, the negative is automatically eliminated. What is the principle? Which verse is this? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 2nd chapter. I'm giving you a big hint. Very popular verse, very famous verse. An attempt, I don't see everybody, making an attempt. Few are thinking, others are still feeling the fatigue. Still feeling the fatigue? No, bhakti, there is no fatigue. Which principle is it? Yes, Sonika?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Vishya Vinivartante.
Very good. Yes. Very good. Vishya Vinivartante Niharasya Dehina Rasovarjam Rasovasya Param Drishtva Nivartate. So as you realize the higher taste, this is what Prabhupada is saying, as you have the realization of the higher taste. What is the effect of having the realization of the higher taste? Then Vishya Vinivartante. Then immediately from the lower levels of sense gratification and sense enjoyment, which is material, one is automatically uplifted. He gives up. So unless and until one has the higher taste, how can you have higher taste? When you come in such programs where the Lord is in the center. We had very beautiful, very wonderful celebration of Lord Jagannath's anniversary, installation anniversary. They were so very nicely decorated by Priyanka Mataji and Ravindra Prabhu. They prepared very beautiful crowns for their lordships. You saw the photographs? Those who did not attend. Manoram and Manini Mataji. Bolo, yeah. Manini.
Hare Krishna
Yes.
Prabhuji. Yes,
But I
Prabhu.
see that they even do not appreciate how the appreciation will come in the heart? And they prepared such elaborate bhoga. You saw the bhoga? More than 56 bhog. And we had the longest time of eating. We were not able to eat as much. So many items. I almost sat for 1 hour. And I thought, Dolamani Prabhu, our Dayashil, he even continued further. Because of so many items, but there was how to fit everything in. And Sonika was singing so melodiously. And even the small Gaurangi, she was dancing. Everyone was enjoying. This is Vishya Vinivartante. How we spent 4 or 5 hours, no one came to know. We had very elaborate Abhishek, almost 2-hour Abhishek. That elaboration, so much of time we even don't spend in the temple. And Jagannath was very happily accepting all the flowers. And today not the flowers were falling. We had so many flowers, I was surprised that there was at least 5 to 6 baskets full of flowers. And I had asked Pradeep Prabhu to continue plucking the flowers. And today the flowers were not falling also from the altar. Everything was being absorbed by Jagannath. He was absorbing everything. It was such a joyful, it was such a feast to the eyes, to the heart, and also to our belly. Everything is completely satisfied. So this is raso varjam raso piyasya. So unless and until we have that spiritual experience, unless and until we have this experience of tasting that higher rasa, some people came, they were neighbors. One family came. So I asked them that, do you have deity? And they said, yes, yes, we have Radha Krishna. So I asked them, do you offer bhoga? So they said, ek baar suwere lagate. So I requested them that whatever you prepare, you offer. बोले वो नहीं हो सकता. क्यों नहीं हो सकता? बोले घर में लहसुन प्याज आता. So why लहसुन प्याज is required? Lehsun and pyaj, it has such foul smell. And whenever you are preparing pyaj, you are already crying. It has all poison inside. And why you are taking the poison? But what to do? Because they have not tasted such Jagannath Prasad. So today, they tasted that higher taste. That Vishya Vinivartante. So one who is on the spiritual practice, who is performing devotional service, is Navanavaras Ramani Gantum Asid. He is always experiencing newer and fresher, higher taste. So when he is experiencing higher taste, where is the possibility for him to indulge and engage in abominable or lower grade activities? So Prabhupada is giving this principle. When the positive form is realized, the negative form are automatically eliminated. Therefore, with the development of the bhakti cult, with the application of positive service to the positive form, beautiful. With the application of the positive service to the positive form, one naturally becomes detached from inferior things and becomes attached to superior things. Similarly, the bhakti cult, being the supermost occupation of the living beings, leads him out of material sense enjoyment. This is the sign of a pure devotee. He is not a fool, nor is he engaged in the inferior energies, nor does he have material values. It is not possible by dry reasoning. You know why this is being emphasized? Can anyone say why it is being emphasized so much? Why Srila Sudha Goswami is hammering on this point so eloquently and so much emphasis is given on this answer? That bhakti yoga janayati asu vairāgyaṁ jñānaṁ ahaitukam. Why so much emphasis is given on jnana and vairāgya here? Although it is the natural outcome, but why it is to be emphasized so much? And Prabhupada is hammering in the purport so much. about the engagement in the positive, and then automatic elimination of the negative. Not emphasizing the elimination of the negative and not engaging in the positive. Why? Because these 88,000 sages are assembled there. They are asking the questions. And what are the sages' primarily activity? Is all this high-grade activity, so-called high-grade activity. Penance, austerity, sacrifice, study of Vedas, renunciation, negation of the non-essential. But there was a missing thing, which Suta Goswami came and connected them. What was the missing thing? The essential was missing. And the essential is the Supreme Lord. And Suta Goswami appears there and he will speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And he will bring the essential right in the center. And he will make all of their activity become the supermost or the topmost. So this is very important. So Prabhupada is saying that negation of the non-essential does not mean negation of the essential. So this is very important aspect. So we see in most of the people's practice also. This is missing. I was trying to emphasize that all ritualistic kind of worship or practice, the essential is not there in the center. Krishna is not there in the center. They're just performing to gain some material advantage. So it will be explained in the next verse. It is futile. It is actually practically useless. It is worthless. All that kind of practice or all that kind of ritual or all that kind of repetitive exercise is just like beating the empty husk. It is of no good result. So Prabhupada is very much hammering that the negation of the non-essential does not mean negation of the essential. The essential has to be always carried out. One can, that is the principle of apratihata. Bhakti is apratihata. It cannot be interrupted. It cannot be intermittent, or it cannot be intervened. It has to be incessant. It has to be a continuous flow. So this is not possible by dry reasoning. It actually happens by the grace of the Almighty. Another very revolutionary statement. So how one is able to perform the ahaitukam anapratihata bhakti? By the grace of the Almighty. In conclusion, one who is a pure devotee has all other good qualities, namely knowledge, detachment, etc. But one who has only knowledge or detachment is not necessarily well acquainted with the principles of the bhakti cult. Bhakti is the supermost occupation of the human being. So, Srila Suta Goswami has answered, in a way, the first two questions in this two verses, 6 and 7. That what is the absolute and the ultimate good for all? And what is the essence or what is the highest principle given in the scriptures? So the both answers are the same. That one must perform devotional service to the Lord. And from next verse, from verse number 8 till practically verse number 15, he will explain the process, how one can engage or how one can come to the practice of devotional service. So, in a way, he has explained the sadhya. 6th and 7th is the sadhya, the goal. And now he will explain the sadhan. Very beautiful. See, so many times we see the Goswamis asking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu That what is the sadhya, and then they ask what is the sadhana also. And what is the goal? And then please also let us know how to achieve the goal. What is the process to achieve the goal? So from verse number 8 to 15, Srila Sutta Goswami will explain the sadhana. The sadhya, the goal has been already declared by Srila Sutta Goswami, and now he will give the process. That is why this chapter is entitled Divinity and Divine Service. What is that divine service? How it is to be practiced? What is the approach? That will be explained in the next verses. So I'll stop here. And it is open to you for any discussion or clarification or question or argument. Hare Krishna. Yes, Manoram Prabhu.
Prabhuji, one clarification on this material form and positive form. What does it mean, Prabhuji, here? Form means what?
Form means rupam. Rup. What the Gyanis have the understanding that Brahman Satya, Jagan Mithya. They also consider anything and everything in this material world to be false. No, nothing is false. It is temporary. So material form means which has beginning and which has end. So every relation in this material world is temporary. And is it essential or non-essential?
Non-essential.
Yeah, if it is not connected to Krishna, it is non-essential. So the form is the rupam. So it will come next. In the process, it will be explained by Srila Sutta Goswami that there are 3 levels. Vadanti tat tat vidas tattvam yad jñānaṁ abhyayam brahmeti paramatmeti and bhagavati shabdate. So the bhakti is focusing on the form of Bhagavan, his personal form, his transcendental form, Sachidananda Rupa. Namamishwaram Sachidananda Rupa. There is not, it is Brahman which is formless or personless. Okay. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Anyone else want to speak? Bolo, quickly. Or you are wanting to sleep, take rest. Bolo Sonika, how was your experience today?
Wonderful experience, Prabhuji. Out of the world.
Everyone
It
is
not
feeling
it is
overjoyed.
very good. Yeah, Prabhuji.
Everything was very, very satisfying to the heart. Both to the eyes, to the heart, to the tongue. All our senses were fully enlivened. We got a feast. Feast of the eyes, feast of the ears, feast of touch, feast of smell, feast of taste. All the senses were completely enlivened. That is what festival is. Thank you very much. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees.